So, like I said, we are going to be doing some spiders because Louise is known for her spiders. And I want you to look at those spider webs. I'm going to show you how to do those. We're going to create our own cute little spiders. And I want them to hold something. This one has a bouquet. This one has a treasure box. This one has a heart. And this one has a sandwich. So you get to come up with what your spider is holding. Louise was really into objects and the meaning behind objects, and the spider represents her mother. So we're going to talk about that in this cute little book I have for you. Let me show you some photos of her artwork, and then I'll jump into the book. So as you can see, she really enjoys drawing spiders and spider webs. That is kind of her hallmark. It's what she enjoys doing. She really enjoys spirals. We're going to put some spirals in our artwork as well. Here are some of her sculptures. Her sculptures are very large, and they're almost at every museum. So especially in the Modern Art Museum in New York. That's where her first spider is, but they're all over the world, and they're ginormous. And this is a photo of her. The one on the far right is her when she was young, and she moved to New York, probably in her 30s to 20s, and her hair is very long. She kept her hair very, very long because it reminded her of weaving. And then she didn't become a pronounced or famous artist until she was in her 70s. So that's all I have to show you about that. I'm going to go ahead and jump into this book. I don't normally read books, but I really enjoy this book, and I really want to show it to you. So I'm going to read it to you. All right. Louise Bourgeois made giant spiders and wasn't sorry. Also in this book, you're going to see little tiny spiders, so see if you can find them. There's one on almost every page. Louise's family had all sorts of animals in their garden near Paris. Noisy ones, bouncy ones, shy ones, curious ones. They reminded Louise of people. There's our little spider. So keep your eye out for those. Sometimes in the evening, Louise and her family would have dinner in a tent outside among the animals, trees, and plants. The night would creep up, and Louise needed all of her courage to run back to the house through the dark. Luckily, Louise had a big imagination, and she felt that the stars guiding her and the trees watching over her. She listened to the whispers of the nearby river and washed her fears away. Sorry, I'm admitting someone. There we go. Oh, this one has a lot of spiders. Louise was a little bit scared of the dark, but she wasn't scared of spiders. Louise loved spiders. These busy, twinkly creatures reminded her of... There's our little friend. Of her busy, twinkly mother. Louise loved her mother more than anyone in the world. Her mother was a weaver. She mended old tapestries by carefully and patiently weaving threads just like a spider does with its web. And there it is. Louise had a lot of fun helping her mother. She drew designs for parts of old tapestries that had worn away. Usually these were near the bottom, so Louise became very good at drawing feet. Sometimes her mother made flowers or leaves to cover other parts. When Louise wasn't drawing, she was often writing. Thoughts and stories poured from her pen. She scribbled down things that she saw, felt, or imagined, filling pages and pages. At school, Louise was a clever pupil. One of her best subjects was mathematics. She especially loved geometry with all of its specific shapes. But while Louise was still at school, her mother grew ill. Louise spent a long time caring for her. She found that drawing and writing helped her let out her hurt and fears. Here's our friend. When her mother died, Louise was heartbroken. She started studying mathematics at university, but soon left to go to art school. Art gave her confidence to help, and it helped her mend her broken heart, just like her mother mended delicate tapestries. Louise decided to become an artist, even though most artists in those days were men. She followed her dreams all the way to New York City, full of exciting, creative people, where there, on the rooftop of her apartment building, she made her first wooden sculpture. They were tall, like skyscrapers, all around her. Each one stood for a person she missed, as if her loved ones were still there with her. Her family-like sculptures were the star of the show at Louise's first sculpture exhibition. Where's her little spider friend? Right there, so tiny. And here's her other one. Louise became a sculptor, but that didn't stop her from drawing. Sometimes she drew wavy lines like rippling rivers, or tapestry wool, or flowing hair like her own, which was sometimes really long. She didn't stop writing either. One day Louise wrote Je t'aime 300 times on a sheet of paper. That was a message meaning I love you in French to her mother, whom she always remembered. There's her friend. Louise liked making art about memories. That's why she began putting objects in her sculptures. She used things that she had kept or even found on the street, things that had a story to tell. Most of all, Louise had sculptures that told stories from when she was a little girl, like the time she tiptoed up into her father's attic and discovered all the chairs he had kept hanging from the ceiling. One day, Louise was inspired by her older sister, Henrietta, to create a sculpture of two very long, dangly legs. Remember how Louise loved geometry? Another day, Louise carved two enormous eyes out of marble in the shape of a perfect sphere. Here's our friend. Louise also drew spirals, and more, twirling around and around. They told stories of her mother winding wool for the tapestry she repaired. Look at all those spirals. Louise told stories every day. She wove all her memories into art. She drew things and dangled things and stacked things and carved things into all sorts of curious shapes. As time went by, Louise was known as a great artist. She became the first female sculptor to have a solo exhibit at the Museum of Modern Art in New York. Louise was 70 years old, but she didn't stop there. She started filling cages with objects and even cutting up her old clothing to make art. Then, at the spectacular age of 87, Louise created a giant spider. It was 1999. Such a massive spider had only ever been seen in science fiction movies. Some people saw it and squared, "Eek!" or "Yikes!" But not Louise. She had always loved spiders, and she wasn't sorry. Louise's spider was huge, as tall as a house, 8-legged giant made of metal and marble. And guess what Louise named it? Maman. That's French for mommy, because, well, you know the story. Louise felt safe with that giant spider watching over her. All right. I really enjoy this book. Thanks for listening. I'm going to go ahead and... Okay, so I hope you enjoyed the story. We're going to go ahead and find our pencil. So get a pencil, put it in the air, and we're going to wave it like we just don't care, because it's Friday and we're ready to draw our very own spider, and we're not going to be sorry about it. So, let's get our paper. And we always want to put our name, so find the bottom, and we're going to put our name. And the date, 10/17/25. We are going to do a warm-up on the back. We're going to practice that spider web. What is very important about the spider web is what direction our curved lines are going, okay? So, our web, we need to make sure that they are curving up, up. They're not curving down. They're not like this, okay? We want this. They're curving up, so like a rainbow, not like a smiley face. We want rainbows, not smiley faces. All right, I'm going to have you come here. You're going to draw a line, so go to the tippy top. Go to the tippy top. And we're going to draw a line that's about 4 fingers in length. So just do 4 fingers, just like that. We're curving up. We're covering up, not down. So we're doing rainbows, not smiley faces. Okay. Now, once you have this line, it doesn't have to be perfectly straight. We need to draw a line that touches the edge of the paper. So watching me, it needs to go all the way down and touch the paper, edge of the paper. All the way down, touching the edge of the paper. It might be a little longer than this one, and that's okay. Don't worry about having super straight lines because spider webs are not perfectly straight. All right, get this line and point it down. Get this line and point it down. So we have a total of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 lines. And they're all kind of making these triangle shapes. Do you see these little triangle shapes? This is a warm-up, so if you don't do it perfect, it's okay. You're going to start here and end here, okay? This curved line is going up like a rainbow, not down like a smiley face. So we're starting the curve and let it touch that line. And you're going to continue that. And we're going to do what we do on one side, we do to the other. Make sure they're long enough, they're touching each line. And what I like to do is once I have it all mapped out, it's all outlined, I pick one. I pick one little triangle and I just kind of make some arches all the way up until you can't see them anymore. And this will guide me to make sure that all of the lines are going to match up. So I'll wait for everyone to do this. This is our warm-up. I'm going to zoom in. Just pick one. Just pick one little triangle section. And now you have to find where that line ends and then continue it, connecting all of them together. Do you see how they're holding hands? It kind of creates like a V shape. And then you do the same thing. You see how they're lined up next to each other. We're not putting one here. That's not where our line is going to start. It has to start here next to this line. So go ahead. Start adding all of your spider web lines. Give everyone some time to finish that, and that is our warm-up. We're going to start with the web again. We're going to start in pencil, and then we're going to move on to Sharpie. So we're just going to outline everything. We're not going to do a lot of detail in pencil. All the detail will be done in Sharpie. All right, let's go ahead. Flip over your paper. Let's get those 4 fingers. Find the tippy top, the center. Get your 4 fingers. Place them down. Put a dot. And that's going to be our first line. And I would recommend making these pencil marks very light. Light as a feather. We're not making dark, heavy lines. They're light lines. You don't need a lot of pressure. I also want to kind of talk about concept art. So this is what my first drawing looked like, and this is what my second and third drawing looked like, and then finally I came up with this. So as an artist, you might have an idea. My idea was a spider because I wanted to talk about Louise and her famous spiders, but it took me about 4 or 5 tries to get the right idea. So be patient with yourself. If your first draft doesn't come out the way you want it to, that's okay. Artists go through a process. So same thing, we're going to put a line that goes all the way to the edge of the paper. I think it's really important to show the process of how artists work, because your first draft isn't always your best. And this is your first draft, so be nice to yourself. Alright, and we're going to start here, just like the warm-up. This is only 4 fingers, okay? And we're only going to go around 1 time. We're just going to outline. We're not going to put any of the extra detail in yet. We're just outlining the spider web. So we're not going to add anything inside yet. We're going to do that with Sharpie. I just want you to do your first outline. Alright, what I need you to do now is get 3 fingers, place one right here, line these up, place a dot, and draw a line. This is the line that our spider is going to be coming down. So this is the line right here, and then we're going to do the abdomen and the head and all that stuff. Okay. The circle is going to be about 3 fingers, so about 3 fingers. So I'm going to put my 3 fingers right here on the right and left, and that's going to guide me to draw a circle that is about 3 fingers. Look at how light and sketchy I'm doing my circle. Don't commit to it right away with a lot of pressure. Go very light, like a spiral. And I'm going to add a spiral in my spider, just like how the book talked about Louise doing a lot of spirals. Alright, we're going to add another abdomen. It's just very tiny. It's like a little smiley face. It's about the size of your pinky. It's not very large. You should still have at least 3 fingers of room down here. And then we're going to start with the eyes. I'm not going to do the head, I'm going to do the eyes, and I want them big. So I'm going to do 1, 2. Look at how light and sketchy I'm doing. I'm using my fingers, doing little circles. They're very close to each other. Once you have this shape, just come right here, and we're going to draw another little line with a little smiley face. Yeah, I'll pause it here. I just get so excited to draw spiders. Think of what pattern you might want to add. You could do stripes, polka dots, checkers. I really like this one where I do different size lines. So I'm going to use the thick Sharpie and the thin Sharpie. We have a heavy weight line and a thin line. Polka dots. He's eating a sandwich. Think about what your spider might be eating. And you're going to go and connect this like so. All of our legs are going to come out of this part right here. We're not going to put legs in the head or over here. All of our legs are coming from right here. And we're going to do that together. So I'm going to pause so everyone can catch up because we're doing the legs together. Because that's the trickiest part. We're going to start off with short little legs and then we're going to make them grow and get longer and longer. So find the very center of the abdomen right here. And we're going to do a line straight out. And it's about 3 fingers. This line is about 3 fingers straight out. Horizontal. So go ahead, it's your turn. And then you're going to do the other one, which is also about 3 fingers. Straight out. And we're doing this in pencil. We need to find this part right here. And we're going to do another line pointing down like a diagonal, which is about 2 fingers. It's a little shorter. And what you do on one side, you do to the other. I'm going to pause right here. 2 fingers, about 2 fingers. This one's 3, and this one's 2. So the legs look really short, but don't worry, we're going to make them longer. And spiders technically have 8 legs. I only did 6, but if you want to add to a pair, 2 extra legs, you can. I just like the golden ratio rule where 3s and 3s look better. But it's up to you, it's your spider. We're going to come right here, and we're going to draw another line, but this time it's pointing up. And these lines are about 3 fingers. So they're about 3 fingers. 3 fingers long. 3, 3, and 2. These ones are a little shorter, but not by much. Not by much. Not by much. So as you can see, we have to draw these lines to make the knees to bend so they touch the web. And then we're also going to do ones here to grab something. So what I want to do is just come right here and put a dot so we know you don't have to draw what it's going to be. You don't have to draw the sandwich. You don't have to draw the bouquet. I just want you to put a dot. This one's holding a candy bar. Alright, watching me, we should all be right here. We're going to put a diagonal line just like that, towards that dot. Your turn. Alright, our next 2 legs, we're going to find the very back legs, and I need you to watch me. We're going to come here and go straight up. And then I like to give them little feet. We can give this one little feet too, little hands. This one's gonna go all the way up like so. None of these legs should be going through this abdomen. They should all be outside of the abdomen. And do really light lines because you might not like the placement of your line first. So just do it very light, and if you don't like it, fix it. We are all done with pencil. We do not need our pencil anymore. What we're going to need is our ultra fine Sharpie, the really sharp one. And we always put the cap where? On the back. If you only have this thicker Sharpie, that is totally fine. Your artwork will look beautiful using this one. But I'm going to use this one, and we are going to use this one a little bit later. And I'm going to start back with my web. So we have to do the outline of our web, and I like to put some thicker lines with the thicker Sharpie. So let's go ahead and start with this first line. And we're going to stop right there. So we're done with our pencil. We will definitely erase the pencil marks, but we're going to use them first. And we're going to outline. Oh, I like to do the lines first. So do the lines first. Make sure they go all the way to the edge of the page. And then you can start outlining. Make sure those curved lines touch each other. They're holding hands. I'm going to come and outline my spider. We're going to wait on the legs. We're just doing the body. We're going to wait on the legs. Make sure you outline the eyes first before you draw the circle for the head. And I'm going to switch to my large Sharpie. You can do your spider webs all with the thin Sharpie, the ultra fine, but I like to have a little bit of variation. So I like to have thick lines and thin lines, like this, because I think this looks more interesting. If you don't like that look, you don't have to do it that way. You can do it all with the thin Sharpie. But I'm going to use thick and thin. So what I like to do is just kind of randomly pick spots where I want the web to be a little thicker. And you don't need a lot of them. So this one's optional if you want it to look more like this, but if you don't like the appearance of that, then you can do this with your thin Sharpie. So I did some thick lines because I like to have some variation in my spider web, but if you want them all thin, that's okay. I'm going to come here and I'm going to draw the rest of my spider web lines, connecting all of them all together. Now it's time to do the legs, which I think are a little difficult, and I like to draw whatever we're going to put here first. So if you want to do a bouquet, do a bouquet. If you want to do a heart, do a heart. A sandwich, it's up to you, but you're going to put that object first before we draw the legs. So we have the spider outlined, but we don't have the legs outlined yet because I want you to put whatever you want here first. I'm going to have the bouquet here because that's a popular one. And what I'm going to put right here, I think, is going to be a coffee cup. Maybe he's drinking some hot cocoa. But you can draw whatever you want. He could be holding a candy bar, a sandwich, flowers, a heart. He could be holding anything that's school appropriate. Maybe a pencil, maybe a paintbrush. Maybe he's an artist. And I want you to think of where they are looking. Is the spider looking up? Is the spider looking cross-eyed? Or is the spider going to be looking at what it's holding? And now we get to do our lines. I like to put little dots on anywhere there is a joint. So anywhere there's the knee or the elbow, I like to put little dots. And then we're going to connect them. I think the dots also add a little bit of style. And it also helps students know when to stop and change directions. So when you get to the dot, you stop, and then you change directions. And with the thin or thick Sharpie, you get to make a pattern. I really like using the thin and thick Sharpie to make different size lines. You could add polka dots in the face. You can put polka dots on the back, checkers. He's holding a treasure chest. So think about where the patterns are going to go. And I'm going to do the spiral because I like doing a double spiral. That's what I'm going to do. So I'm going to use my thick Sharpie first. You don't have to do a spiral. If you want to do a different shape or a different pattern, that's okay with me. And you're going to add a pattern into each section of the spider. The head and the torso. And then I like to get my thinner Sharpie and put some thin spiral in between my already existing spiral. You see how I'm doing it in the center. It's in between my spiral. And this takes a lot of concentration, so just be patient. You don't have to do a spiral. You can do checkers or polka dots. I think I'm going to put checkers here. And then I'm going to put polka dots here. I'm also going to give him little tiny things so he can enjoy his hot cocoa. Now, I usually keep these black and white, but if you want to use a color, what I would suggest is do what the illustrator did in the book I read you. And our illustrator used only one color. And when you use only one color besides black and white, it really makes things pop. For example, she only uses red, or he, I'm sorry, only uses red in certain spots. So she doesn't color everything in. He doesn't color everything in. Only certain things get to be colored in. Some pages have no color at all. For example, I really like this page because everything is black and white except one object. And it makes your eye go there immediately, and it makes it pop. So what I suggest is you could pick any color. You could pick red, blue, purple, pink, orange. And you're only going to put color in certain places. You're not going to color the entire thing. You're not going to color a blue or nighttime sky. What you're going to do is just kind of pick and choose where you want to put color. And you don't have to put color in every single section of your spider web. I would just put color in small spots. So I think I'm going to make his coffee cup blue. You don't have to use blue, you can use a different color. And I think maybe a few of his checkers will be blue. And then not every section of the spider web, but just finding one or two in each row will make it pop. And I think that looks way more interesting. Don't put a color next to a color. So don't put a color right here next to the blue. Don't put a blue right on top of a blue. You kind of want to pick and choose and make it look balanced. And the only way to know if an artwork looks balanced is by thinking about color. And where there is no color, just put a little bit of color. You don't want to put too much color in one place. I'm going to leave these here. For example, if I wanted to add some color to this one, I like green. I think I'm going to do green. Not every flower will be green. Just a few different flowers will be green. So just a few flowers would be green. Not all of them. And maybe just a few checkers would be green. Not every checker. And same with the web. Just a few spots would be green. But I do enjoy it being black and white. Originally I wanted it black and white, but then I was looking at the book I read and I was like, oh, there's some color in there. I'm going to change my view in case anyone wants to show off their artwork. I'll be here. Oh, very cool. Aw, thank you guys. You guys did a good job. Well, I'm going to have to say goodbye.